Good afternoon, everyone.
Sorry? I'll look up. We'll talk about it.
All right, we have 6 bills. We're going to be out of here in 10 minutes? No.
6.
But we're going to be out of here pretty quick. And we're going to do everything in the order that we have. So, Senate Bill 318, Senator Brooks, come on down.
Well, good afternoon, Chair Gazzoni, Vice Chair Rosapep, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 318. For the record, I'm Senator Ben Brooks, representing the 10th Legislative District of Maryland. SB 318 is a direct response to concerns raised by community members during the Patapsco Valley State Park radio tower project, which highlights a significant gap in Maryland law. While local government are often required to engage residents on projects that affect their communities, state agencies are not consistently held to the same standard, and as a result, communities can be left out of the decision-making process for state projects that have substantial and lasting impacts on their neighborhoods, environment, and quality of life. SB 318 creates a targeted outreach standard, ensuring that community members within a mile radius of the project footprint are notified in a given the opportunity to provide input when the project meets a defined criteria. Meaningful community input is not an obstacle to effective government. Rather, it's a critical component of it. Early and transparent engagement helps identify local concerns. It improves project outcomes and build public trust. While residents feel heard, projects are more likely to be moved forward with fewer conflicts, delays, and unintended consequences. SB 318 establishes a clear, reasonable framework to ensure that state agencies seek and consider community input when undertaking projects that directly affects their local residents. It promotes accountability, transparency, and equity while respecting the expertise of state agencies and lived experiences of the communities they serve. For that reason, I respectfully ask for a favorable report on SB 318. Thank you. I do have one person here.
Yeah,
Should I use this?
you can, yes.
This working? Okay.
Yes.
So my name is Sheldon Smith, and I'm an attorney. I live in Catonsville, and I was kind of the leader in the project we're talking about. It was a controversial project in Catonsville. The Maryland IT group wanted to install a 348-foot tall tower. That's a 30-story building in a residential area. The problem with that is there was no notice on it, there was no postings, no anything. So I had to do a PIA request to get the information to first hear about the project. Turns out when I got the documents, I realized they were 30 months into the project. They'd done all the planning, selected the contractor, et cetera, et cetera. So then we started exchanging some correspondence with the IT department. We said, why didn't you have hearings? They said, well, we usually don't do them until the design is complete. And number two, we're the state, so we don't have to follow county requirements for permits and for hearings. So bottom line is the first meeting that they had, public meeting, was 38 months into the project. By that time, contractor was selected, interagency agreements between the park and the IT was done. They selected a contractor, had blueprints, they were ready to go. And so when we had the meeting, basically, they didn't want to hear any comments because to them, the project was a done deal. This was 38 months before they heard any feedback that there was objections to that site. So this bill satisfies that. For major projects like this, $2 million major infrastructure, there should be some kind of public early engagement and outreach to the public, and that's kind of the county standards, and it should be the state standards for these kind of things. So I think it helps the constituents, it helps the politicians so they know what's going on, and it helps the agency because they get feedback up front of what's going on, and they would have known there was this controversy and instead of going down 38 months of wasting time. So I strongly support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for the senator and his witness? Senator Halbin.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question. What is this tower to do? What's the purpose?
It's a radio LMR tower for public safety, and the reason why it's so high is they want to have a look down to the Patapsco State Park. But again, the entire park area is, 1,000 acres, and for some reason they picked, I think for convenience, an area right near several residential areas in Catonsville, where they could have put it, in the hinterlands of the park. So that was our objection, and again, that was already cooked 38 months into our first discussions.
And if I could add, they were saying that there were some gaps in communications. If they were getting something like 850 calls a year, and they wanted to try to cover those particular gaps, but making the tower almost 2.5 times higher would really distort the look in the community, and that's what some of the major concerns. And maybe there was something else they could do to, use more towers or whatever to lessen that particular, the height of that particular one. So, but here again, the community wanted to have some input in that. So.
And is the objection? It's an eyesore.
Well, it's good. Again, 30-story building is going to be 250 feet above the tree lines, and the area that it's going to, we estimate 1,200 homes are going to have this eyesore. But what's galling is 90% of the park area to be covered is remote park area. So why not there? And again, and the other thing is they only looked on the Baltimore County side, not the Howard County side. So there's just a lot of issues that they didn't address that if they had had early hearings, they could have addressed them.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
By the way, I had submitted some written testimony also. Thank you.
Senator Fulton, you have a lot of bills before us this year.
Yeah, I mean, this is my fourth spectacular bill. I know you guys are receiving them with great enthusiasm.
Well, and you brought a high-powered witness with you.
I was actually worried that this was going to be a hindrance to the bill, so I really would rather not be directly attached to him. He did it on his own.
I don't see any enemies that I made in my years down here, I don't think.
I mean,
Sponsor problem, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's definitely
Michael
a problem.
Jackson left, so I was stuck with the second best. What can I say?
it's all right. So, take that as a compliment. Okay, moving on, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your warm reception as always. Before you today is Senate Bill 328. For the record, William Fulton, State Senator representing the 4th Legislative District. SB 328 deals with the property tax credit. Again, similar but not exactly the same as the bill that brought before you a couple weeks ago, Mr. Chair. But this deals with disabled and fallen public safety officials, and it basically alters the idea that should someone who is a surviving spouse of a fallen first responder, that their property value that at the time of the death, should they move to another location, whether it's a downsizing to a smaller, into a townhome or the like, that property value would at least, or that credit, I'm sorry, would at least transfer with the new residents if the value is actually slightly higher because the times have increased and the values of the property in the area create a significant higher tax burden, then this amount would then be deducted from the new tax burden. And with that, would ask for your favorable report on SB 328, and I'll turn it over to my panel.
Thank you. Good being here again. For the record, I want to thank you for passing this bill out last year. In fact, the entire committee signed on to the bill last year. And what we found out was that, when we were I was down here in '05, '06 when we put this original bill in. We found that, we didn't think about forward thinking. And a couple years ago, I got a phone call from one of the spouses that said, John, my husband died, and I went from $300 tax bill to a $4,000 tax bill. So we forgot to take care of the spouses. It not only takes care of spouses, it takes care of significant others as long as they're living with them for, I think, 5 years is what the bill says. So, we try to cover everybody in the bill. It is enabling legislation. It doesn't cost the state a dime. It's county done. So we'd have to go back to the county. In Baltimore County, we're the highest right now. But if you look at the fiscal note, for the entire 14 counties that do it, the fiscal note is a total of $428,000. So if you do the math, it's like $26,000, $27,000 per county. So it's not a lot of money, but it does help spouses of the fallen officers. We hope that we can get it through. You guys passed it. Unfortunately, got hung up over in the House. Hopefully, we can get it through this year over in the House. And like I said, in my county, I have a Democrat and a Republican all ready to put it in and to codify it in because it is enabling legislation. They were all ready to do it. So I know in my county, we're ready to go. So I'd appreciate a favorable vote.
Mr. Chair, also, I'd like to point out that it's not just law enforcement. I know you said officers, but this is for any first responder. So, like, for example, we had a firefighter killed in a tragic house fire. It would also, confer to their family as well.
Yeah. Any questions? I keep looking for ways to kill your bills, but you're making it tough. No. You're making it tough.
Four of them, Mr. Chair. Come on.
Well, this should be the priority, though, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
This is thank you and for the opportunity to be here today.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next up, me. Well, not exactly me. You know how I am. I'm very shy, so I like to give the opportunity to my team. And this year, Micaiah is with us, and I'll let her take over.
Which bill?
Start with the earned income tax credit.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. I'm Micaiah Polk, and I'm honored to serve as the Graduate Legislative Fellow in Senator Gazzoni's office. And today I'm here to present Senate Bill 377, the Earned Income Tax Credit for Individuals Without Qualifying Children Eligibility, also known as the EITC Expansion Bill. Maryland is one of the 31 states that values their hardworking lower-income citizens by offering a state version of the EITC. This tax credit seeks to address the issue of limited access to the EITC for lower-income individuals without qualifying children. This credit is one of the most powerful anti-poverty tools utilized by federal, state, and local government. And while the EITC is a vital tax credit meant to provide financial relief for working families and individuals, its current structure excludes many low-income workers who do not have dependents. Senate Bill 377 proposes to raise income thresholds, thereby expanding eligibility and ensuring more low-income workers can access financial relief that they deserve. By increasing the phase-out levels, this bill will help provide tax relief to a broader group of individuals. Expanding the EITC to allow more Marylanders to claim up to $600 during tax season. Senate Bill 377 represents a crucial step forward in ensuring that Maryland's hardworking low-income individuals, especially those without dependents, are not left behind. I respectfully urge the committee to issue a favorable report on Senate Bill 377 to help ensure that more Marylanders can benefit from the Earned Income Tax Credit. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. As you all know, I couldn't have done that better. What's that?
We're going to have to revisit this bill in 7 years.
Yeah. Oh, right. Well, we'll talk about, I'm going to let the other witnesses come up. I thought you were virtual, but you're not. So come on up. But we are going to have to talk about this bill because it does have a huge price tag. And obviously, we're not going to be able to do all that, so we need to talk about it.
Alrighty, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, my name is Tanea Moore, and I'm the Director of Policy at the CASH Campaign of Maryland. CASH stands for Creating Assets, Savings, and Hope, and we help low to moderate income people with their finances. More than half of our clients earn less than $20,000 annually, and we do offer a variety of services across the state of Maryland, including free tax preparation for people making under $67,000 a year. Thank you to Mr. Chair for his leadership on this bill, which makes sure that more low-income workers who don't have dependents can still benefit from the Earned Income Tax Credit. While Maryland's EITC has a 100% match of the federal EITC for single filers, few single taxpayers benefit from the maximum credit of $600, as you have already heard. For example, someone working one part-time job for 15 hours a week at minimum wage rate would receive around $452 of the EITC at the state level, which is a 100% match of the federal EITC for that particular taxpayer. However, when we look at someone like that same exact taxpayer who works around 25 hours a week, an additional 10 hours a week, they would receive $0 of the EITC. Every year, we see multiple clients who make just over the cutoff who would actually benefit from the EITC. For example, Mr. Lowe, a single taxpayer who is a non-custodial parent, and due to the low income limit, he is unable and ineligible for the EITC. Mr. Lowe stated that being able to receive this credit would help him with multiple things like basic essentials, rent, food, and transportation. When we say single filers, of course, we're talking about people like Mr. Lowe, but we're also talking about first-time expectant mothers, youth aging out of foster care, young veterans, single young people who may be struggling to remain engaged in the workforce. For these reasons, we do urge a favorable report, and I just want to acknowledge Mr. Rob Bader, who's CASH's Director of Tax Partnerships, who's been doing this work for over 20 years with the CASH campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Callie Shumitz. I work for the Maryland Center on Economic Policy. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan research and policy organization founded in the belief that all Marylanders should be able to achieve their full potential in a healthy economy that offers a widely shared and rising standard of living. So thank you to Chair Gazzoni for bringing this bill back and continuing the conversation. And we also deeply appreciate this committee's strong support over the years for the EITC. Because of your past efforts, we have one of the strongest EITCs in the country, and it is one of the most effective anti-poverty programs that we have. It helps hundreds of thousands of working families make ends meet every year. However, as the prior speakers have explained, it's not working as well for low-income Marylanders who, for various reasons, aren't claiming dependent children on their taxes. So in a time that we're hearing a lot of concerns about affordability and people being able to afford the basics, we feel that SB 377 is a way to get cash to Marylanders who are working hard for low wages and struggling to afford the basics. We know that this not only helps those individuals, but it's also good for our economy. People who receive the EITC are likely to spend those funds in their local economy, at our local businesses. And there's been economic impact analyses that have looked at the EITC and estimate that every dollar invested in the EITC generates about $1.23 of economic activity. So for these reasons, we would ask for a favorable report on SB 377.
Thank you. Do we actually have somebody online? Okay. Questions? I mean, look, I think you all know how I feel about several of these programs, this, and we're going to hear the school meals thing again this year. We need to keep it at the front of our minds. We had this briefing yesterday on some of these poverty issues and programs. I won't let this sit. And if we can modify these, and we'll think about that, of how we can sort of even inch if we have to. That's what I want to try to do. With no questions, I thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 2, 379.
Good afternoon again. My name is Micaiah Polk, and I'm here to present Senate Bill 379, an act concerning Recovery Residence Grant Program funding. The Recovery Residence Grant Program was established within the Maryland Department of Health to award competitive grants to recovery residences that support essential operations, services, and programs. Recovery residences assist individuals seeking recovery from alcohol and/or substance use disorders by helping to break the cycle of addiction, rehabilitation, and relapse, thereby increasing the likelihood of sustained recovery. Through the implementation of innovative technology, the program expands residents' access to increased recovery resources, resulting in greater resiliency and practice tools to support sustainable long-term recovery. Grant-supported residences emphasize increased individualized engagement with residents, creating a more personalized and meaningful recovery experience. The program further prioritizes the removal of barriers that prevent residents from navigating and achieving their personal recovery journeys. Enhanced life skill support with a focus on physical health, financial stability, and overall wellness equips residents with the skills necessary for independent living and long-term success. State investment in a recovery program reduces reliance on more costly emergency and crisis systems. SB 379 would further strengthen these efforts by extending through fiscal year 2030 the requirement that an annual appropriation of $500,000 be included in the state budget for the Recovery Residence Grant Program. And we ask for a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you. Another great job. We had some panel, I think, and you can come up. We have somebody also online. Let's do the online one. Mr. Higdon?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of SB 379, the Recovery Residence Grant Program. My name is Thomas Higdon, and I'm the Executive Director of the Maryland Alliance for Sensible Drug Policy. We are a statewide, membership-based advocacy group led by people with lived or living experience with substance use. And I'm here to share my personal lived experience with recovery residences. In the fall of 2014, I was homeless in Baltimore City, living under the JFX. I was unemployed and honestly unemployable. I had bench warrants out for me in 2 different Maryland jurisdictions, and most days I spent panhandling to buy food, alcohol, and other drugs. I felt trapped and couldn't see a way out. But then I got lucky. I received a scholarship to attend a quality evidence-based treatment program. But even in treatment, I was scared because I knew what was waiting for me when I got back. A tent under the highway. And if I went back there, I knew what would happen next. But then I got lucky again. A local nonprofit paid for my first month in a recovery house when treatment ended. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but it was able to give me a stable landing pad just long enough to start rebuilding. I got connected to recovery supports and quickly found a job. At the end of my first month, I was able to pay my rent on my own. Within 6 months, I was in my own apartment. Today, I have a home, a family, and a career that allows me to give back to the community. And I'm happy to report I haven't stepped foot in a courtroom in over a decade. I don't say this for inspiration points. I say it because my story is a very real example of how recovery housing functions as a bridge between treatment and stability. Without that bridge, my story could have gone in a very different direction. And my personal experience aligns with the data. Research shows that recovery housing can help people do the things we all want. Stay engaged in treatment, return to work, stabilize your health, and reconnect with family and community. And for people leaving treatment with nowhere else to land, this can be the deciding factor. For these reasons, I respectfully ask the committee to issue a favorable report. And thank you for listening to my testimony. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing your story. It's pretty compelling, and we're glad that you're in the place you are now. Any questions for Mr. Higdon? Thank you very much. All right. Whoever would like to go first?
Go first. Hello, my name is Tammy Nemiroff.
You want to pull the mic a little closer.
Oh, sure. Hello, my name is Tammy Nemiroff. I'm here. I am the Administrator for Living in Recovery. Thank you, Chair, Co-Chair, and committee for having us today and listening to my testimony. Living in Recovery is a state-certified nonprofit organization that provides safe, structured recovery housing that helps individuals transition from treatment to independent living through personal and peer accountability. Since 2010, we've supported over 400 individuals, with a majority maintaining sobriety during their time in the program. LIR serves 12 men and 5 women in 3 recovery residences, creating a family environment and fellowship and support. A typical stay is 6 to 12 months. Our core services include required recovery activities, recovery mentoring, individualized evidence-based recovery capital planning, workforce or educational engagement, weekly programming, and preparation for independent living that supports long-term stability and self-sufficiency. At Living in Recovery, we use the Recovery Capital Framework through our pilot program to help residents successfully transition from recovery housing to independent living. What we consistently see are gaps in transportation, employment readiness, and access to healthcare and mental services. Our certified peer recovery specialists help residents close these gaps by navigating systems, building resumes, and connecting with providers who understand long-term substance use recovery. Our peer team is trauma-informed and culturally competent, grounded in lived experience, and aligned with peer support best practices. This approach improves engagement, trust, and follow-through, the key drivers of successful outcomes. State investment in a recovery capital program reduces reliance on more costly emergency and crisis systems and supports long-term stability. Our pilot demonstrates this model works, and continued funding will allow us to sustain and responsibly expand this impact. Thank you for your consideration.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. This is not my first time testifying regarding recovery residences. My name is Roger Huff. I'm the Chair of Living in Recovery. What we're finding in the state of Maryland and the critical need for this bill to go through is that we have a lot of services with programming and housing attached with it, but what happens after they complete that programming? And we're an independent operator, we're a nonprofit, but there's a smaller and smaller focus group or group of operators like ourselves that are not attached to a program, which makes it very difficult for folks to find funding and ways to come in to bridge the next section, reunification with family, return to work. Tammy alluded some health stuff and transportation. So we're a critical cog of maintaining that, that continuity of care that allows people to find sustainable recovery. So what these grants allow us to do is introduce other types of recovery capital for these folks to find sustainable recovery. We use a program called Recovery Capital. We have peers that come in, and what we find in these smaller operators is that they don't have access to getting these cutting edge technologies to help people turn the corner. And that's what this bill is really spirited for, is to be able to provide those grants to folks to be able to bring in additional resources that they weren't able to do before. So it's critical, as what we can see of what's happening around the country, is that resources are going away to maintain this stability for families and individuals in the state of Maryland to be able to achieve long-term recovery. And that's why we're here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions for panel? Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Senator Bailey, you can wait. Senator Waldstreicher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. It's a pleasure to be before you. Senate Bill 356 provides a one-time tax credits for the parents of stillborn children. Last year, we passed this bill unanimously through this committee and then unanimously again on the Senate floor, excuse me. And everyone in this committee was very kind to amend themselves on. That was a very kind gesture. I explained the symbolism of that to the stillbirth survivors who had testified on behalf of the bill, and they were very much touched. In light of the trauma that recurs when mothers testify to this experience, I've asked them that they don't need to join today. We will save their testimony for the House side. And I would ask that we repass Senate Bill 356. The purpose behind the bill, just to reiterate from what you heard last year, is that parents of stillborn children have essentially a triple whammy. The unexpected loss of a child, the expenses that they outlaid on behalf of of what they expect to be a live birth, so the nursery, car seats, and the like, and then the sudden and unexpected expenses of funeral expenses that are necessary in these circumstances. And so this bill accomplishes really two things. It's governmental recognition of the trauma that these women went through, as well as a small gesture of financial support given the unexpected expenses that they had in these circumstances. And that's why I hope we can pass Senate Bill 356. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions for Senator? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Senator Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished members of the committee, Senator Jack Bailey, representing District 29, St. Mary's, Calvert County. This afternoon, I'm going to talk to you about Senate Bill 357, which would add St. Mary's County to the list of counties that issue a gaming license to qualified charitable organizations. Last year, after the session, I was contacted by one of the Moose Lodges in St. Mary's County that they had been visited by a representative of the Maryland Lottery and Gaming Control Agency, and there was an inspection conducted. During that visit, the lottery personnel found that the lodge was also using electronic gaming devices, no different than they had been doing for the past 30 years. The Moose Lodge was informed that the use of these devices jeopardized the ability to continue as a lottery retailer, even though they had been under the impression that they were operating lawfully under the state's complex gaming statutes. And as I say, they've been doing this same thing, same machines for 30 years. After reviewing the state law and a consultation with St. Mary's County on the matter, I contacted the lottery to request information on why and how this happened. I was informed effectively that the lottery could not certify that the devices were being used in accordance with the laws because they were not licensed in any way. The county didn't have a record of it whatsoever. Most other jurisdictions, including the neighboring jurisdictions of Calvert and Charles, require that a qualified organization to receive a gaming license from the county before they operate any machines. This bill establishes a license structure that will allow nonprofits to raise money through gaming as permitted under the law, like they've been doing for the past 30 years. It's modeled after the St. Mary's County existing bingo license with one key difference: no fee for this license, as I do not believe that we should be charging charitable organizations for their continued service to our community. After further discussions, and we had these discussions as recently as Friday, and I think the amendment is now ready, we will be sending an amendment to the committee that will limit its scope to gaming devices only and exclude gaming events such as raffles, bazaars, and carnivals to reduce the impact both on our county and our local charities like the fire departments. I would like to thank the Maryland Lottery, Gaming Control Agency, and the St. Mary's County Attorney's Office for their assistance in working together and drafting this language and their prompt attention to this matter. I respectfully request a favorable report on Senate Bill 357. I thank you all for your consideration.
Senator, last year we passed a bill for fraternal organizations. How does this interact with that, if at all?
So that was a really quick question that I had for them, thinking that had in fact solved the problem that we had.
Is it because they just were never registered in any way before?
St. Mary's County doesn't have the ability to register them. right? So without a registration, the commission can't say that they're legal or not.
Gotcha.
So
the bottom
that's
line.
what this is.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.